Thank you.
Hey everyone, I hope you have a good time. So, few words about myself. I'm a tech lead at UMI, or UX chain. We rebranded. We're one of the Cosmos Layer 1 chains, the biggest, in fact, money market, native money market in Cosmos. Yeah, my background is for, I think, already 6 years in Cosmos, before in Ethereum. I'm also part of the New York Contract Standards Committee work group. I used to do lecturing at the University of Geneva, but I don't have any time anymore. That's my website if you want to follow me. So I want to talk about this discrepancy between different chains. We talk about layer 2s, we talk about chain abstraction, account abstraction, about layer 1s, layer 2s, layer 3s, and so on. I want to start with this slide. I think everyone is familiar with, because on every chain we want to launch another memcoin, another NFT, sell it, and this replicates. Okay, maybe you can try on Ethereum, then maybe you can try on a Base and on Solana and on Avalanche or whatever is there, and see your success. So for NFTs, for this kind of images, yes, maybe the strategy will work. You don't use any lose any efficiency, right? But there are many other meme coins, and then you can ask yourself, how much sense does it make that you launch yet another meme coin? And then you need to bridge it, how do you form this ecosystem? So this causes many problems, right? Now, if you think from the financial perspective, for meme coins it works. You can just launch yet another one, right? But nobody is using meme coin for serious stuff. It's good to make money, but nobody will trade it in a traditional sense. Now, abstracting from that way, yes, how this works. Okay, you take the same smart contract, yes, have a template, and then you redeploy it, and maybe you just change the catalog of the images if this represents an NFT collection. If this is a DEX, then probably you fork Uniswap or any other Solidity contract, and then you redeploy it, rebrand it, you add maybe one more feature, change maybe the governance parameter, and voila, maybe you have another successful protocol. And then you do it for layer 2, you do it for another layer 1. Soon there will be layer 3s. All of it, then if you apply it for the DeFi, yes, it obviously will fragment the liquidity, right? Because your Uniswap pool on Ethereum, and then you need to bridge some tokens, and then you get the point, right? It fragments the liquidity, and then it causes the liquidity wars, because how do you incentivize people to actually move the liquidity? Yes? So what's very often happening is that there are these incentives, yield strategies, and then all the degens will basically milk your incentives, the tokens you have. And as soon as the incentives are finished, most likely your protocol is dead. But who matters is you made, probably a few thousand if you are good, a couple 100,000 if you are very good, maybe some millions, right? So you made the job. But overall, yes, after a few months, your protocol will be dead. So it's just phenomena in the DeFi of today. Next thing is that if the protocol, let's say Aave or Uniswap, yes, which is launched on a few layer 2s or in Ethereum, and there is a brand, right? So they keep the value, but they lose on financial efficiency, right? So if you take, for example, Aave again, it's very important that the liquidity on the money market perspective is there, right? Because the money markets, they are supposed to provide, to be that, the very stable, big source of liquidity to help other protocols. And the other protocols should be built on top of that. So there is a whole strategy, right? When and why the money market will have to be replicated or not, and how it works. So again, to make it efficient, then we have from a DEX perspective especially, yes, we have a problem with it only works when there is arbitrage, right? If you are on, let's say, Arbitrum, and you need to make some trade, either yes, you break it down into few trades until the arbitrage bots will equalize the price, which is not perfect from the user perspective, or you lose because the slippage will be bigger. So the world of today is really like depending on the branding, on the people, on the trust in the protocol, teams, right? And the arbitrage bots that there will be efficient. Consequences, so reduced liquidity, of course, right? Your protocol is less efficient. Increased complexity, because now you either wait or you need to apply those arbitrage bots. Inefficiency in capital and resources allocation, and uneven access to the information, right? So the arbitrage bots is a huge money to make, but it's really for sophisticated users only. So what I want to talk here is that we should, as a community, as builders, as innovators, thinking more on the bridge-powered apps. So rather than like fragmenting and copying the same solution, start thinking, especially now when Ethereum is moving to layer 2s, and there is no one layer 2, but many layer 2s. They have to be connected. They need to work. They need to be interoperable. So it's not only about the composability, right? But it's the connectivity. This is still like missing. If you think from the perspective, like again in Ethereum, that Ethereum is the settlement layer, it doesn't bring what we really need, the interoperability between the protocols. Because interoperability is not about token transfer. It's really about remote procedural calls. So for that, yes, so okay, token transfer is the basic one. But okay, we need to have the message passing, we need to have a gas abstraction, right? Because let's say if the money market will be, let's say, on Arbitrum, right? You don't want to, again, replicate it to the optimism. You just want to like quickly and efficiently talk to one another without having a user to rely on the gas and underlying complexities. Interchain tokens, another thing. USDC, how many USDC you have? Yes, you have Axelar USDC, Aave USDC, Axelar USDC on Polygon, as Axelar USDC on Arbitrum, on Osmosis, and so on and so forth. Right, so then you have all those 90 USDCs. At least it helps. Unification around it. I mean, those tokens have to be different because they carry a different risk. So, but the concept of interchain tokens is how we can leverage bridge to unify it. Yes, somehow. And finally, interchain authentication that comes with interchain accounts and chain abstraction. I did a lot of work, for example, with Axelar and a few other bridges. There are usually problems because when you have multi-hop bridge, you lose the proof who actually is the original sender, because the bridge will usually reproduce the sender from the last leg. So you need to think also about like how do we do the authentication when there are multiple legs on your bridge. Chain abstraction. Internet Computer is doing like a great job with that. Started it. Then Near, that's like they want to put it as a theme of this year. I think I have a slide about it. Voila. So it's more about that. Okay, you have your own wallet, and from that wallet you control all the other accounts on other chains. Yeah, so the concept is that you use MPC. I'm not sure if Internet Computer was like going deep into that, but they have a lot of documentation, a nice video, check it out. But very roughly that the subnet, or here in case of Near, yes, a shard, yes, will derive keys from your, let's say, Near account here to construct transaction, to sign a transaction for other chains. That's from IC, but the idea is like use threshold cryptography and MPC to basically solve it out. So going back to bridges, right? Like this is from Axelar. The applications will be on the chains, multiple chains. Then you have many gateways, many bridges, right? And then how we can organize it, yes? So all the bridges, I think that they need to have the application layer, like in the TCP/IP, right? So it's not only a communication, but application layer. Axelar allows for it. Wormhole will allow for it. IBC will allow for it, and I will talk it in a second. Polygon. Polygon is doing like something similar, but in a different way. So they introduced that AG layer or interoperability layer, right? Where all the messages, again, messages, not the tokens, right? Can transfer in a trustless way. Here, in this case, yes, they require ZK proof. So that AG layer, in this slide, is interoperability layer, will verify it. So you have a zero knowledge proof that the execution was correct, which is usually better than just consensus verification. Why it's important? Again, because you can focus on developing on a single chain and leverage a fast interoperability layer to do it. And overall it works. The disadvantage in case of Polygon or CDK, in my opinion, is that no, it only works with EVM. If you have some custom EVM with custom opcodes because you do more of the privacy stuff, then no, sorry, it won't work for you. Here's another view how you can look at it. So you have some public chains, CDK chains, private chains. Again, all of it, then the proofs can be aggregated, merged into that concept of interoperability. Again, I don't want to talk about Polygon, but about the concept. The concept works. A Cosmos chain, ZK IBC. IBC is perfect for developing application on top of the bridge. So who here is familiar with IBC? Okay, a few people. So IBC stands for Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. So it really starts like from bottom-up approach. Yes? So you have the networking layer, you have the channels, connections, channels. Same as you connect your web applications, web services, right? You have a server. The servers and the client they establish a connection. Once the connection is established, you can have a channel there, multiple channels and multiplexing. And then in terms of IBC, these channels are important because each channel is bound to an application, to a specific protocol. They can then multiplex the packets between the same clients. Crucial part is that it's open-ended, so you can have any application on top of that. Yeah, so you don't need to change. Probably should be better if I would put here another slide like in Aussie Stack. You don't need to change the channels, the concept of how the trust is established here. It doesn't require you for that. Yeah, think about from the CDK Polygon perspective. If there is a limitation somewhere there, the whole infrastructure doesn't work. Yes, so we will yet to see how we will be if we will be able to enable more aggregation. Again, if you change the proof system, there might be some limitations. IBC maybe is not the most efficient one. Today, it's really focusing on the light client verification, but it's open-ended. You can do any type of the verification is peer-to-peer, right? So you as a user, again from a chain, yes, you can have kind of like a governance or risk assessment to see with which protocols, with which chains you want to interoperate. And that's crucial. That this is really the interoperability. Peer-to-peer, you reduce the risk and you can do it. So there are many now projects trying to leverage IBC to use the same concept, use the same API about the packets, channels, ports, to apply for other stuff. So for example, Union, recently they launched, they connecting all Cosmos chains with all the EVM chains. All the API is ABC compatible. So finally it's going open that you don't have one specific implementation between the Cosmos chains, but you already have implementation for other chains as well. Notably, they are using zero knowledge validation for EVM chains. A few more slides here about, whenever doing that, it's super important to think about the security. There's always risk. Most of the bridges, like Wormhole before, now they have the new version, right, with the Wormhole Connect. They were rather focused on the multi-signature. Yeah? We have already seen many vulnerabilities with that. MPC is kind of interesting. That's what I mentioned, if you remember, about IC and near. But it's still, yes, that you don't have full verification. Validators could collude to forge a signature for you, and there won't be slashed. Yes, for to basically then relate to another chain. So it's not the best one, but it's okay. Consensus verification and state verification, this is what IBC and what I mentioned before about union provides. The zero knowledge validation, full zero knowledge validation is the last one. So you verify the state, you verify that the operation is correct based on the latest state of the chain. So you fully reduce the risk here. So what we should really think and develop whenever we're making decisions, building the applications with Axelar, with Wormhole, with Union or other bridges that will come, or IBC in general as a concept, yes, we need to really be here. Don't use that. And finally, I want to close here with a few thoughts about like a DeFi and what we are doing. So DeFi V1, it really fragments the liquidity. That's, you have pool 1, pool 2, second pool. Those pools, they don't talk to one to another. V2, yes, you have like a protocol on liquidity. It helps because then you have like a protocol who can manage the different pools, who can do some assessment. Human is less involved into that. But none of them really solves the liquidity fragmentation problem. And in my opinion, like maybe it should be V3 or maybe V4. I don't know how people would like to call it. But for a few years, we already talked about unified liquidity. And in my opinion, this is like building the apps with bridge in mind from the first perspective rather than like copy pasting. There are a few solutions that already, let's say, leverage that. Interfluid staking, superfluid staking. Superfluid is, for example, from osmosis. You can deposit into the pool some tokens. Those tokens will be locked, bonded, and automatically, let's say, staked into other, if those are native tokens, so superfluid is for native tokens. So tokens that are like layer 1 tokens, right? That you can stake for your proof of stake rewards. And then basically you boost the your APY. Me token is also like experiment we are doing. That's kind of like a bridge token that you can unify different Axelar USDC from chain A, chain B, chain C, and try to find a protocol of that. We released it a month ago. We still like need to think how to market it, but it's more like an idea. And okay, I cannot go back. Oh, yeah, I went back. Yeah, so I want to like here put as an example this Me token because check it up. I really want to promote like visions or missions for anyone who wants to build with bridge in mind. So with that, yes, I hope that this will be the right solution for a DeFi. I mean, everyone in DeFi wants to have better speed, better quality, and lower costs. Right? Just shipping your protocol from one chain to another is okay. It's like a short term. There will be always better chains. But if you fragment it, just copy paste, it won't help you. Right? You can always move your protocol from other chain, but we need to have the interoperability in mind. So if you start with interoperability and then you find that, okay, actually, for whatever reason, Optimus doesn't work for me because they don't have still the fraud proofs. I want to go for Sui or Solana because it's more sexy now. But if the whole stack or the whole API with all the connections will still work because you build with bridge in mind, you will improve the speed. You don't break the composability or interoperability. You improve the quality, maybe because the other chain will provide you better solutions, and you reduce the cost. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Do we have like 2 minutes for one question? There's one question.
Really great presentation. One quick question. What's your view upon intent networks such as across, dbridge, DLN to abstract the need of even having a bridge and offsetting this one trade and one chain to another through solver networks?
I'm not sure I get the question. You ask about the intent?
Yeah, like what's your personal view of intent networks like DLN, dbridge, across, instead of even needing to have a bridge, you
So
offset this to solvers?
Yeah, good question. So intent could be used like kind of a resolver. So I mean, we have like this chain abstraction, yes, which I mentioned before that you abstract how you can control from one wallet another accounts. I think that could be a good optimization for like a bridges, or that from a user perspective, right? It will from the interoperability perspective, yes, it will solve it, yes, because we will have some optimizers. There will be many bridges, for sure. So from a developer perspective, probably if there is like a good if there is a good product that will deliver bridge-based intents and resolve all the routing for me, keeping the interoperability, yes, that's the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you.